there are a lot of folks in this group I know who are having trouble narrowing down their topics and having trouble finding the right people. And so what advice would you give for, do you narrow down your topic first, or are you researching your audience that you really want to serve first and then going back and refining that topic? What advice would you give about that, Melica?
Well, I would encourage them to take on a topic that they're passionate about. If they're not a topic that Joe Blow is doing, a topic that they're passionate about, because once they start doing the research, they're going to be so excited that they're going to go on and go on and go on and on. And this is how
I like to get some feedback from the experts, from the folks who are doing it inside of the 10K Launch Incubator and CYOC. So today we have one of our students, Miss Melica, on today. So I'm super excited that you are here, Melica. You're all good?
Thank you. How come I don't see them?
They can see us. We can't see them. So they're inside of this group, inside of our Facebook group, our Awesome 9 to Thrive Facebook group. So They will be hopefully dropping some questions inside of the chat. I'll be monitoring that. And I received a few questions via email. So I want to make sure that we touch on those. A lot of folks inside of this 9 to Thrive freedom movement are right at the beginning of the journey, right? And if you can think back to where you started this journey. Yes.
When I was there. That is a long time ago, Dr. Sonia. I followed you for 1 year. Then I jumped on. It'll be a year, and coming up soon, it'll be a year that we've been together.
I'm excited.
And so, yes, I do remember. I don't like to look back, but I'll look back today for you. But that was the day I had everything scattered everywhere, this and that, and trying to get everything organized. And now that I'm organized, I do feel very good about where I'm at. I know that next year is going to bring me a pot load of money.
There we go. We are prepping for 2022.
Yes, we are. When I first started out, audience, I was confused. I knew what I wanted to do. I know my audience, I knew everything, but I just didn't know how to organize it and put it into a format for an online class. And with Dr. Sonia's help, it is coming. It is coming. At the time that I started with her, I was working on a web page. And thank God I'll be with my web page developer. He also we've all been together for almost a year. Nice. And things are happening. It's just that I have some legal issues that I won't say they keep cropping up. It's just that because of the direction that I took with this, I have to make sure things are in order, because we have people in our world that come along looking for people to steal their ideas, take over their businesses, and what is it called? Sabotage what you've been putting your efforts into. So the name of my business is called Oh My Say Yes Academy.
I love it.
And Say Yes Academy is a safety education program. And Dr. Sonia, I'm getting ready to shock you a little bit.
Oh, I'm excited.
Because while I'm having one problem, see, when I have problems, I turn the other way and I focus on other things to kind of keep my mind going right. So in our safety education program, we have 3 classes. We have the safety education program. This program is for autistic students. We have a CPR and first aid training, which I am a CPR and first aid instructor. And I'm in the process of completing my CASE Act training to become an instructor as well in that section. Then I have, and this is what I had to do. I had to figure out how to organize this. But before I go on, I want to say that I took all of my skills that I've learned over the many years of going to school, and I decided to put everything up and on the internet into one package instead of walking back doing this and then walking back and doing that. And this is what's taken me so long, is because now I have a table of organization, and I can go on and say that we also have a gift shop, and the gift shop is going to, we're going to sell antique jewelry. As a matter of fact, it is antique vintage jewelry from Africa and from other parts of the world. We're going to be selling antique decorated clothes. And we also have a soul and body product shop. And in that shop, we're going to have 5 workshop classes. And then we're going to go on, and I've set up an art gallery, actually a virtual art gallery. And this art gallery is going to be for students with disabilities, individuals with that are autistic, adults. And it's actually going to be open to all the artists all over the world. And one of the things that took a little while was putting together a contract, because I'm not going to be selling their work. I'm only going to be displaying it in the virtual gallery, and it's up to them. And we have links that they're going to be the persons selling their own work. So what my scope of this is to give people an opportunity to get away from others that do commission work and things like that, and for them to come in and try to sell their own work. So that will be a platform where they'll pay a minimal fee, and I will display their work for 30 days. They can sign up a contract for a year, but each month they have to hang a different picture. So we have that going. And then we have 12 art classes. And since my background is in therapeutic recreation and art therapy, I went into my storage room and I found all of my lesson plans. And when I found them, I found a lot more than 12, but I'm going to just start out with 12 easy things. I'm also a mentor in my Facebook group for artists. So this is one of the ways that I started to gather the people that I need to advertise with when we're ready to put the advertisement up. But my audience, my main audience, is autistic adults. And when I started doing the research during the pandemic, I learned that there was only 1% to 2% of autistic individuals employed. And I thought that that was really sad. And then I have autistic students that I meet here and there, and they're always looking for a job, and they're asking me if I can help them. So they were my inspiration and guidance in doing what I've done. And I also learned through my research that I'm new. I'm someone that's stepping out of the box, offering a specific group of people something to learn, something to do, with an opportunity to get a job. And it doesn't have to be a big job. It could just be something working in some type of repetitive work, and like stocking. They may be able to, I know definitely in stocking, they may be able to do something in customer services. So those are the 2 areas that I've, been looking at, that they would be able to work, especially in some type of clerical work as well. And I've also been doing research on different types of organizations that would be willing to take on people that are at a higher level with autism, because that is one of the concerns. Most employers do not want to hire individuals with any type of disabilities because of the, what is the word for it? It's a liability cost to them. I'm realizing as I talk to other people that a lot of employers don't even realize that there is a deductible for taking on certain types of individuals. And not only that, they don't have the workforce that may be acceptable to helping someone with a disability enjoy a work day. So those things are the things, some of the things that I'm advocating that will start to change in the workforce, because we have a new type of workforce coming through. A lot of people don't want to do a lot of certain types of jobs anymore, but the work has to be done. And when you have people that can do it, I think they should have the opportunity to do it. So it's this project that I started out as a charter school, but when I met Dr. Sonia and it changed into an online program, it took on its own life. And when I say that, it started to take me in different ways that I too wasn't familiar with. But it has been an exciting journey. The one thing that I would encourage everyone to do that is a part of this, that you are part of a network that is we work very close together, even though let me say this, please learn to disagree and agree at the same time. It sometimes is a little bit, but just learn how to do that, because not everything that you're going to hear from other people you're going to agree with. But for the moment, remember that you are in a learning process. So you are learning to grow and growing to learn. And so I would like to encourage you all to first sit down and think about the market that you want to target. I would also encourage you to do some research, and don't worry about if someone else is doing the same thing. You can always do it a little differently, or you can add different things to it. And this is what I did. I took one group, I took autistic adults, and along the way, I realized that there were no services available to them. So I incorporated the services that I have, the virtual art gallery, the soul and body products are beauty products and beauty products. And it is going to turn into a manufacturing company. So I'll be able to hire my own students to help in that department. And this is what I'm saying.
Awesome.
This is what I'm saying. Know who you want to target, because you don't know what is out there. And I didn't know what I know today. And this is why I've stepped up. And like I said, most of the people that I have talked to, I've talked to the United Way, I've talked to Access, but the person in Access is on jury duty. So we're bouncing back and forth and making plans still. And Access is the company that services autistic individuals, actually all individuals with disabilities, and they're in about 10 to 12 different states. So my goal is to harness that complete contract and travel and do the safety education program with them. Through my travels, I also learned how I could make my program even better. And I need to, I have a set of grant writers that are on standby. And I've learned the tools and different things that I need to teach them how to become more safety aware and use the same ideas at home. And so we can stop having these house fires where people are being killed because of the smoke, that when someone runs out of their house that's on fire, they leave the door open and the smoke from that fire rises up into the building. And the people that are on the floor, upper floors that can't get down from the smoke, they're dying because they're inhaling the smoke. So if we can make that one small change, it would make a world of difference for people. And if people would become more conscious about the things that we have, they smell. We just recently had a fire here in New York. 50 people were left homeless, and majority of that 50 people went to the landlord and said, I smell gas. He closed the door and kept on going. And then later on in the day, in the morning, they had a big explosion. The front door to the building blew off across the street. All of them were able to get out, but what they should have done is when the landlord ignored them, they should have called 911, but they didn't know. So I want to be the person that helps to make a difference and change that thinking. Also, what I would like to say is that Dr. Sonia has a book called Teach. I would encourage you all to purchase that and use that as your reference guide. Now, I still refer back to my Teach. I still add information to the Teach because you're not going to remember everything that you have done in your life or things that you are planning to do. I also encourage you that when you get to the section on the catchy phrases, please walk around with a pencil and a piece of paper because catchy phrases come to you in the weirdest kinds of ways. And when you think you can get at home and write them down, the catchy phrase is gone from your head. So you have to write it down in the little moment that you have. If you can run into the store and get a bag or a piece of paper, write them down because they do help in the end when you get to this where I'm at the part where I have about 40 different catchy phrases. So what I've done is I've put a different catchy phrase together in through what is that, Canva. I've used Canva to help create my posts. And
Canva.
Canva.
Yes. And what you mean by catchy posts are your marketing for attracting the right audience, right? So before we get into like, okay, attracting the right audience, because first of all, I love everything that you're doing. And it sounds like to me, since the beginning, when we first met, you have expanded quite a lot. And so I really want to go back and touch on some of the things that you have already said, because there are a lot of folks in this group I know who are having trouble narrowing down their topics and having trouble finding the right people. And so what advice would you give for, do you narrow down your topic first, or are you researching your audience that you really want to serve first and then going back and refining that topic? What advice would you give about that, Melica?
Well, I would encourage them to take on a topic that they're passionate about. If they're not a topic that Joe Blow is doing, a topic that they're passionate about, because once they start doing the research, they're going to be so excited that they're going to go on and go on and go on and on. And this is how you build it. I'm passionate about special education. I've worked in special education. I know what special education students they deal with every day on a day-to-day basis. So I took my passion for wanting to help that population of people to build what I'm doing today.
Very good. I like that. And you're right. And we talked about this on day 2. We talked about the VYP formula, value your passion, where we have to choose a topic that we know some stuff about, right? The thing that makes us the expert, but also one that you are passionate about so that you do not get burned out. So when it comes to skipping forward a little bit, when it comes to understanding your audience, do you feel that, okay, we chose a topic that we are most passionate about. Now, how do you go about getting started and doing the research on the people that you really want to serve? Like, how did you find that process?
Well, because I have a background in it, I pretty much knew who to go to. I started blogging with Autistic Speaks and dropping little hints about what I'm doing. But when it came to the safety education part, I teamed up with Rutgers University and I started taking classes with Rutgers University, dropping little hints about what I'm doing. And they are the ones that helped me define the equipment that I would need to make this process even better. And that was a great thing. And then I teamed up with, well, let me say not teamed up with, but I became involved with other safety education, well, not so safety programs. You have JJ Keller. I follow them. I follow a couple of them. I follow them so I can read their newsletters and keep up with the information. So that's how I did what I did. But again, I'm going to say you have to have a passion with for what you are doing, because for me, I uncovered information that I didn't even know exist. And I have, with Autism Speak, they can be a funding source because they put out grants and things like that. They can also be a marketing source because they do have a place for me to market my good or my program. Then for another person I follow, she is a employment specialist. And since I do want to make sure that the students that I work with, or the adults, I should say, have jobs, I've been following her, and I'm going to purchase her book and mark it all up, because that's how I do my books. Sometimes I mark them up because I need to, keep up with the good points. And I'm going to be teaching a group of people that may have never been on a job interview how to go on a job interview and be successful. Now, through some of the blogs that I've read, I recently read one where a young lady feels within herself that she can do other jobs within her organization, but the organization doesn't feel the same way about her. And they're looking at her disability from a negative point of view and keeping her down. And she was very, very upset. And I just came in through the blog and, briefly told her about what I'm going to do or would like to do. And there's my first customer.
There you go. Right. There you go. And that is such an amazing, first of all, you know your audience so well. And this is like exactly the strategy that I teach, is that you have to go research. You have to understand who your audience really is, and also understand that we are not creating customers, right? We're not creating an audience. We're not creating a specific person. They are already out there. And so our job, in order to find the right audience, is to go to the places that they are already hanging out. Mm-hmm. It's not about where you're most comfortable. It's about going the extra mile to figure out where are they hanging out, what are their current challenges, how are there other companies and services who are already helping them, right, or servicing them. And so, and then what's the missing puzzle piece? Like, where do I fit in and what can I offer that's going to be different and unique to the market? And so I love that you have taken the time to really research and to find all of these different companies and organizations, and not just find, but follow, take classes, invest in additional resources to really go deep into understanding who your people really are. And so that's a very, very important part of this process when we talk about finding the right audience, right? Some people want to say super surface level and think, hey, I already know the people that I want to serve, but there are many more layers to find out about the people that you want to serve, because it's not just the demographics. It's not just, right, where they're currently located, how much money they're currently making, salary, ethnicity, race. It's not all about that. It's also about psychographics, right? So how are they thinking? And where are they hanging out? And what kind of books are they reading? And, what are their real challenges? What are their real hangups? What are the things that they are most afraid of? And what are the conversations that are going on in their heads that they do not tell anyone else? And once you start understanding your customer at that level, or your students at that level, it becomes much easier to market to them. So you went in knowing exactly like where that young lady was, what challenges she was struggling with, and presented yourself and your course as a solution. That's what we want to do in order to start getting our peeps in seats. Right. So kudos to you.
And I know that once I'm up and running, that I'm not going to have any problems getting customers for what I'm doing, because it is a need. And I would like to also say, Dr. Sonia, please do not, and the audience, excuse me, please do not depend on your family and friends for this. You are looking for a whole new person. I am looking for people that, I'm not saying I'm looking for a bunch of money. I'm looking for people that are understanding the need to be safe on a job and at home. And once I have that, whatever the price costs, I'm sure they will have no problems paying.
Absolutely. I love that. That's absolutely true. And again, it's all because you've done the groundwork, right? There are a lot of folks who don't understand. You have to research your customer. You have to figure it out. And not just one time, but it's a continual research. It's a continual process because your customers are evolving. The market is evolving, right? And we have to, you can always go deeper into understanding what someone's pain point is. But when you understand your who, when you really understand your customer, then it becomes super easy. It's like a cakewalk to present your course as the solution.
Yes.
Yep.
So I definitely know that, like I said, once I'm up and running, I will be able to completely do my classes and have a lot of fun, because I'm going to do them online as well as face-to-face.
Yes. And you're also, which is super exciting. The other thing that I want to point out is that you are also involved in being in the places where your customers are, and you're active.
Yes,
right. So you, like you said, you're a mentor in some of the Facebook groups, you know, hanging out with your people, talking and giving advice to them. So yeah, when it comes time to open your doors and actually launch, you will have no problem having a flood of people to come on in, because you're doing the groundwork, you're doing the research, but you're also positioning yourself as an expert throughout that entire process. That makes the difference.
That definitely makes the difference. But I would also like to say that when you are in those Facebook groups, please be as positive as possible.
Yes.
Offer no negatives. With the people that I work with, there are people that come into the space that do have different mental disorders. And I know they need uplifting. So I do not point out specific things that are wrong with their work. I always start out saying, thank you for sharing, your work is well done. And then I offer up a program that I'm also a part of. It's called Skillshare. And through doing that, I've met other people that are also a part of Skillshare too. So, and that was a nice feeling for me, because I'm getting to know other people that are, and these people are from across the world. I'm getting to know them, they're getting to know me, and hopefully there'll be someone that'll come into my virtual art gallery, pay the fees, and display their work. And I'm just excited about what I'm doing.
I'm excited too.
It's hard to contain myself some mornings, but I have to hold myself and just listen.
Understandable, but I'm really excited about what it is that you are doing. I can feel the passion, I can feel the energy coming through this computer screen about what you're doing. And so I just want to reiterate that we have to be passionate about our topics, right? BYP, use the formula that I gave you guys to value your passion. Also, we need to figure out who our audience is by doing the research, hanging out with them, going to places that they are already existing, where they are already gathering, and figuring out exactly what their pain points are, what their challenges are, and how you can position your course to address those challenges and pain points. That's how you're going to find your audience. That's how you're going to attract your peeps and start getting your peeps in seats. Don't be afraid to make the offer, right? Once you launch, don't be afraid to say, hey, I have a program, you'd be a great fit, come on in the doors. All right. And that's a little bit about what the day 5 training that's going to drop in a few shortly after we wrap up today with Melica, that's going to drop inside of this group. Make sure that you take a look at it. Make sure you start implementing. And I want to also reiterate the importance of taking action, right? Like when Melica came into the program, she did not hesitate. She did not, kind of say, okay, here, I know I have the resources and I have, lifetime access to these things, so I'm gonna just chill out. Like, no, she came in, she hit the ground running. Yeah. How important is that, Melica?
That was very important. Although, as I have said, and I'll say this again, I already had pretty much a map already written out, and I took my map and I plugged it in, and then I started putting things in action. I started looking for the different places that I could go and ask questions. I started looking at Rutgers University. I started looking at Autism Speaks and other autistic programs. What I didn't know was the employment situation. That took me back. That took me back a little bit, and it made me feel really bad for my audience, because I know that they need jobs. I know that they can do jobs, but when you have people that are dictating rules and they don't know the game, then that's a problem. And we would not have the mental health issue that we have across the United States if more people invested their time into understanding that population of people and how they could be useful. I now know who they are, what I have to do to make it possible, and I will do it.
That's right. I love it. Cool beans. I think this has been a super informative session. Melica, any last tips, pieces of advice that you want to leave with the folks who are at the beginning of this journey, just getting started and trying to get to the place where you are today, getting peeps and seeds, launching courses? Like, what last piece of advice do you have for us today?
Well, I would encourage them to think about what they want to do. Put it down on paper, start mapping it out. Then I would encourage them to look outside the box, see what others are not doing that they can do. I would also encourage them to come into our group. Please do not, if you're serious about this, do not put money in front of your passion. It will eventually pay itself off. I would encourage them to also to get away from the naysayers. The naysayers are going to drive you insane. Keep it. Sometimes you might have to keep all what you're feeling to yourself, but continue to press on. I would continue to encourage them to there are a lot of courses and free courses that are out there. Take some free courses. Volunteer. Now that's what helped me the most. I volunteered in the borough president's office when I was doing my undergrad years. And then when I came over into my graduate years, I volunteered and I took a trip to Africa. So I would encourage volunteering. I would encourage you to do any and everything you can to understand what you are wanting to do and can do. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Please don't ask me questions, because I don't know. I only can tell you about what I know. Now, but I will take your question and I will go and do some research. So when you ask me that question again, I'll tell you what I know. But I would say, don't be afraid. Ask questions and definitely be adventurous, because with your passion, you're going to have a lot of fun just simply learning.
Man, that is so good. Such good advice. You are always so funny and so knowledgeable, Melica. I appreciate you being here. I know.
I have to laugh sometimes at the crazy stuff I do, because I need to know, and I'm not going to not know. When I want to know something, I'm going to find it out, come hell or hot water. And once I know, it's going to be something else that's going to come along that I want to know, and I'm going to go and find out how that go and who's doing that and why they doing that. I'm just so happy I'm not a politician. Oh, my God. Because they would all be in trouble if I was in Washington, D.C. No, they would.
Yes, they would.
They would be in a lot of trouble with me.
Yes, they would. I always appreciate you, Melica. I'm appreciative of you.
And I thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I thank you so much for all that you have done. I mean, you've listened to all my crazy questions, answered the ones I needed to know, helped me get through those mornings. supported me through those moments, because what you said this morning was right on point.
I
I
appreciate
don't
that.
believe in free, and that was the end of my conversation. I
That's
believe in 15-minute specials, and I've ran 15-minute specials. I believe in having doing something special for the first customer, but the next customer got to pay.
right.
When you're in business, you are in business. You are not, if you are serious about what you're doing, you are in full-blown business. You cannot walk into McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Popeyes, Macy's. I can go in there and get a little perfume swatch for free, but when it comes to buying a pair of shoes or a jacket, they not giving that to me for free.
That's right. And you're talking about our morning motivation call, which all of our folks inside of the 9 to Thrive Freedom Movement have access to during your cohort. But we were talking about this morning about what happens when your heart is so big and you want to serve and people come to you and they want you to provide them a service for free. And y'all already know I am about premium pricing and I'm about being in business. We're not just creating one online course, we're creating an entire business from this online course, just like Melica has developed hers as well. And when you do that, you can charge a premium price. So you guys should have received my pricing calculator as part of this program, the 9 to Thrive movement. If you have not checked it out, go check it out and play around with some of the numbers of how you are going to price your online course. But it is about premium pricing, and there is value that is assumed and attached. I'm talking about perceived value by your customers, by your students, that is going to be attached to your course price, right? So you want to make sure that you're pricing your course effectively so that the customers that you wish to attract can see the value in what it is that you do. And I love, Melica, that you said, don't get caught up on the price of something,
Right.
and hold that over your passion and what it is that you want to do. We have to take steps forward. And the only way that we get to grow and evolve sometimes is to pay to play. If you want to get where you're going faster and you're trying to figure it out on your own, you have to invest in yourself, not just time, not just energy, but also money. It does take money. And I'm really not a proponent. There is an old saying, where they say it takes money to make money. And a lot of times, yes, that is true, but I don't want to hold that particular saying. The thing about it is, if you want to go faster, if you want to get where you're going, pay the money. Pay the money, invest in yourself, and just do it. We've all had to do that in order to make the strides that we really want to make. And I love that you said, if you're serious about being in business, that's the way that you're going to treat your investments. That's the way that you're going to treat your passion. That's the way that you're going to treat what it is that you are doing. And so that's super important to me. So thank you for touching on that. I appreciate you again, Melica.
Can I say one more thing? I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Even for me, that I started out, I had no computer skills. I'm better now, much better.
It.
I have to laugh at myself because I've gotten so much better. But I also want to say one more thing, that with what I'm doing, I already see that I need employees. I already see that I need land. And that's one of the things that I went home for a few months ago. I had to go home. I have a sizable amount of land, and I have to figure out how I'm going to, I know how I'm going to use it, but I now have to figure out how I'm going to get people to help me with this project, because my body, my soul and body products are going to be naturally made. I'm going to grow my own products. And there's one more door that I don't want to talk about yet. That's going to be, because this website has 4 doors to it. And the other door that I'll have to wait on the licensing before I can start talking about that door, because with that licensing on that door, it's going to be another manufacturing component, and it's going to come with not a food truck, but an alcohol truck or bar. Let me say that.
Okay, you are
Let me say this. Yeah, it's going to be, my brother and I are teaming together. One of the things that we learned how to do was to make alcohol. And that's what I want to say, that all of what I'm doing is from what I learned from the time I was 6 years old to the time that I'm now what I am now. These are things that I saw my family do, how they did them, and I brought it all together to make what I'm trying to make very successful and have jobs for the community, not my family, but for the community.
That's right. And I love how you are like the epitome of this process. I promise y'all, we did not have a planning session before this call. We didn't do any prep. Like, this is all of the stuff that I'm teaching inside of my high level programs that you all have had a chance to experience a taste of it inside of the 9 to Thrive movement. So we talked about that on day one, is understanding what are your experiences? What are the things that you have done in life that could contribute to your online course? And so I love that you're talking about all of the things that we have covered. Again, I appreciate you. I really, really do. And I know I don't have to wish you continued success because you are a Jump First family member for life. So you already know. Yep,
and you're already I'm going to be there with some questions. Oh Lord, how you do it? How you do that? I'm doing this. I don't do mine like that. You know that.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate you, Melica, and we will go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in a few. Thank you guys so much for watching, for joining. I hope that this was helpful. And Melica, don't go anywhere because I want to chat with you a little bit more. But I appreciate y'all inside the 9 to Thrive Freedom Movement. This replay will be available to you for 24 hours. So just make sure that you go ahead and rewatch some of this because there were a lot of gems dropped. So if you didn't catch them all, go back. Okay, have your pen and paper and take the notes. All right, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all shortly. Also, don't forget, coming shortly in the next few minutes, you'll see the day 5 training drop as well. So make sure that you check that out too. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all shortly. Bye, y'all.